Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the bill.
To the bill.
I was a supporter of Measure 110 when it was on the ballot a few years back. I saw it as the beginning of an innovative approach to how our state could begin to encounter the conversation about drug use and improve access to addiction and treatment and recovery services while shifting away from criminalizing drug addiction. A couple of years later, we are in challenging times. Use of drugs like fentanyl is escalating, treatment facilities are still underfunded, and the livability of every Oregonian is still compromised with the uninhibited public use of fentanyl and other drugs. Together, I believe we can find the solution we need to this overwhelming issue. However, I also recognize that meaningful change takes time. House Bill 4002, as amended, falls short of the comprehensive strategy needed to address the shortcomings of Measure 110, and I fear that it may be taking us a step backward in some respects. When Measure 110 was passed by the voters, Oregon's largest city was ranked 5th worst in the nation for racial disparities in arrests. Since then, Black Oregonians have received a disparate number of Measure 110 citations. The data suggests House Bill 4002 will still disparately impact people in poverty and those of us in BIPOC communities. In fact, the Oregon Criminal Justice Commission stated that the predicted convictions for African American individuals will exceed what would be proportional to our representation compared to our Caucasian counterparts by approximately 39% for the same offense. This is in congruence to Black people being incarcerated in Oregon prisons and jails at more than 5 times the rate of our Caucasian counterparts. This inequity is also seen amongst the Latinx population. This disparity underscores a continuing trend. BIPOC and low-income communities may continue to bear the heaviest burden of our drug policies, while incarceration rates that fail to address the root causes of drug addiction. I was also disappointed to hear that BIPOC stakeholders felt left out of the conversation in the final weeks of negotiation as the new compromise amendments were introduced. This signals to me that House Bill 4002 still lacks the needed equity lens and the deep insight needed for lasting change. I want to thank the Joint Committee for their hard work on this bill, and I also want the record to reflect that there are a lot of good things that are incorporated into this legislation. And it's a notable beginning to an ongoing conversation that I believe will completely transform how Oregon approaches this dynamic subject. However, this bill does not speak to the many concerns that so many people in our community are speaking up about. I was on board with a bill that committed to deflection across the state, that kept people out of the criminal justice system unless they failed to take an off-ramp. But this bill does not. It does not do that. Criminalization for drug addiction is not the answer. And with all of that said, I am going to be a no vote on House Bill 4002, and I look forward to revisiting and refining our approach to this complex issue in 2025 with the hope that forging a path that truly reflects the needs and values of all Oregonians will happen. Thank you.